The Hebrew Revelations from Hebrew Manuscripts. Chapter 12. Then the seventh messenger blew, and there were many voices in the heavens which said, The rich ones of this world, all of them are coming after our Adon Yeshua, and he will reign from everlasting and unto everlasting. And the 24 elders who sat on their thrones before Yahweh fell on their faces and prayed to Yahweh, and said, We give praise to you, Adon Savot, who was and is and will be. When the peoples were filled with anger and wrath, your anger came, also the time to judge the dead ones, and to give the reward to your servants, the prophets, and to the set apart ones, and to those who fear you, to the small ones and to the great ones, and to destroy those who destroy the earth. And Yahweh's house of prayer was opened in the heavens, and the ark of the tables of the covenant was seen in the house of prayer. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings and an earthquake and great hail. And a great sign appeared in the heavens, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon was under her feet, and on her head was a crown of 12 stars. And she was pregnant and cried out, and she was at the point to give birth, and she had much pain because of the birth. And there was another sign in the heavens, and I saw a dragon, and he had 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads were 7 crowns, and his tail took a third of the stars and cast them on the earth. And the dragon stepped before the woman who would give birth in order to devour the child when he was born. Then she gave birth to a son who would lead the peoples with a rod of iron, and the children was brought before Yahweh and his throne. And the woman went into the wilderness, for there a place was prepared for her by Yahweh to sustain her there 1,260 days. And there was a war in the heavens. The messenger Michael with his messengers made war with the dragon. Also his messengers fought with them, but they did not overcome. Neither was their place in the heavens found any more. So the great dragon was cast out, who is called Satan, who destroys and seduces the whole world. And he with his messengers were cast onto the earth to dwell there. Then I heard a great voice in the heavens which said, Now the might of our Elohim and his Mashiach has appeared, for he who was as an adversary against them all the time is cast out, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they considered their lives as nothing. And because of this you must rejoice, O heavens, and all who are in them. But woe to those who dwell on the earth and on the sea, for Satan went down to you with great burning anger, and he knows that he has a little time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he pursued after the woman who gave birth, but there was given to the woman 2 wings like a great eagle, to go into the wilderness, into the place that Yahweh gave her, to sustain her there a time and 2.5 times away from the dragon. Then the dragon cast waters from his mouth after the woman like a great sea to annihilate her. But the woman had deliverance from the earth, for it opened its mouth, and the dragon opens its mouth and swallowed the waters which the dragon cast after her. Then the dragon was filled with anger because of the woman, and he went to make war with the remaining ones of her seed, who perform the commandments of Yahweh and believe in the testimony of his Mashiach. And I stepped on the sand of the sea, and I saw an animal coming out of the sea, and he had 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns were 10 crowns, and on his heads were the names of reproach and blasphemy. And the animal which I saw was like a horse, and his feet like the feet of bears, and his mouth like the mouth of the lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his throne and great might. Then I saw that one of his heads was like a deadly wound, but the wound was healed, and all the world was astonished because of this animal. Then they prayed to the dragon, who gave the animal power and dominion, and they prayed to the animal and said, "Who is like this animal, and who is able to make war with him?" And it was given to the animal to open his mouth, to speak astonishing things and reproach until the time of 42 months was completed. So he opened his mouth to blaspheme against Yahweh and against those who dwell in the heavens. And it was given to him to make war with the set apart ones and to overcome them. And all the peoples and nations and all those who dwell on the earth prayed to him, those whose names was not written in the scroll of the life of the Lamb who was slain from the beginning of the creation of the world. Whosoever has ears must hear. If one drives another into prison, he will go into prison. And if one kills another nephesh with his sword, he will be killed by the sword. And here is hope and the faithfulness of the set apart ones. Then I saw another animal coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like the lamb, but he spoke like the dragon, and he did great wonders before the first animal, and made that the earth and those who dwell on it pray to the first animal who was healed of his wounds. And he made fire fall from the heavens before man. And he seduced the sons of man with his signs and wonders. And he said to those who dwell on the earth that they should make a carved image for the animal that had the wounds of a sword, but was healed. And to him it was given to give the carved image of the animal a ruach and nephesh, so that it was able to speak, and to make that whosoever does not want to pray to the carved image of the animal, that he be killed. And he made for them all, the great ones and the small ones, the rich ones and the poor ones, the slaves and the freed ones, a sign on his right hand or on their forehead, so that no one is able to buy or to sell unless he has the sign on his hand or his forehead, or the name of the animal, or the number of his name. And here is wisdom and understanding. Whosoever has insight needs to reckon the number of the animal, for it is the number of a man, and the amount will be found. It is 666. Chapter 14. And I saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, and on them the name of his Father was written. Then I heard a voice from the heavens like the noise of great waters, and like the sound of great voices. And the voice which I heard was like the sound of a lyre. And they were singing like a new song before the throne, and before the 4 living creatures, and the elders, and no one was able to learn this song except these 144,000 whom he bought from the earth. And these are they who do not sin with women, and they are like virgins and follow after the Lamb. And they are bought as firstfruits of Yahweh and the Lamb, and there is no deceit in their ruach, and they are blameless before the throne of Yahweh. Then I saw a messenger flying in the midst of the heavens, and he had one good news to make known to those who dwell on the earth, and to all the peoples and nations. And he said with a great voice, "Fear Yahweh, and do your prayer to him, for the day of judgment has come, and do prayer to him who created the heavens and the earth and the sea and the fountains." And after this voice another messenger came and cried out, "Fallen, fallen has Babel, the great city, for she corrupted all the peoples with the wine of her fornication." And after this, the third messenger came and said with a great voice, if one will do his prayer to the carved image and to the animal, and will take the sign on his hand or on his forehead, this one will drink of the wine of the fury of Yahweh, which is in the cup of fury, and he will be punished with fire and brimstone before his set apart messengers and the Lamb. And the smoke of their punishment will go up from everlasting unto everlasting, and they will not have rest day or night, those who took the sign and prayed to the carved image. Here is the hope of the set apart ones, and here are those who do the commandments of Yahweh and believe in Yeshua. And I heard a voice from the heavens saying to me, write, blessed are they who die on account of the set apart ones of Yahweh from now on. And what the Ruach says is true, that they rest from their works, for their works follow after them. Then I saw a bright cloud, and on it there sat one, with the appearance of a man, and on his head was a crown of gold, and in his hand was a sickle. And another messenger came from the house of prayer, and cried with a great voice to him who sat on the cloud, thrust with your sickle and harvest, for the time of the harvest has come. Then he who sat on the cloud thrust with his sickle and harvested. And another messenger came to the heavens, and in his hand was a sickle. Then another messenger went out from the altar, and he had control over the fire, and he cried out with a great voice to him who had the sickle, and said, thrust with your sickle and harvest the grapes of the earth, for its fruit have ripened. So the messenger thrust with his sickle and harvested the grapes of the earth, and cast them into the great winepress of the fury of Yahweh. And the winepress was outside the city, and the blood of the winepress went up to the bridle of the horses, a way of 1,600 graves of the field.